Congressman Boyle, this bill, as it comes down to the wire, I think, as we always knew, I think you and I, being a member of the Tax Writing Committee, the Ways and Means Committee, everything I was hearing about things they wanted to throw in this bill made it an impossible bill to begin with. It's the big impossible bill. That's what it should be called. And it is just a political disaster zone for these Republican House members, some in your state of Pennsylvania. The ones in New York alone, when they lose their seats, that alone gives the control of the House to the Democrats. Are the Republicans in the House tonight aware that this is the vote that could hand over control of the House to you and the Democrats?
Well, it's great to be with you, Lawrence. I will definitely be staying up tonight because I am testifying at that 1 a.m. hearing. A great sign, as you pointed out, that you're attempting to pull the wool over the eyes of the American people is when you schedule a hearing to begin at 1 o'clock in the morning. If they were proud of what they were doing, if they thought that this was something that would help them, obviously they would be doing this, during the day, perhaps in prime time, and not at 1 a.m. I do say that this reminds me very much of 2017. I believed at the time, and was proven correct, that we won the 2018 midterm elections during the summer of 2017, when Republicans passed in the House their bill to repeal and not replace Obamacare. And the fact that it went down in flames in the Senate didn't change the fact that they had come so close from getting rid of Obamacare. And sure enough, the following November, we won 40 seats to win back the House. I think, as you do, apparently as well, think the same thing is going to happen. The one thing I would point out, though, is this bill is actually significantly worse.
Oh, yes.
Because this piece of legislation will throw 13.5 million, almost 14 million Americans off their health care. First, you're cutting people off Medicaid. But second, this does include very deep cuts to Obamacare as well. And finally, I have breaking news for you tonight that literally just came out in the last few minutes as I've been sitting here. The nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office, the official authority on these figures, has now confirmed this bill, in addition to Medicaid cuts, in addition to Obamacare cuts, includes $500 billion worth of cuts to Medicare. That is now in this bill as well.
That is breaking news. $500 billion in cuts to Medicare. That's the biggest cut to Medicare ever contemplated by the Congress. There have been, over the years, trims to Medicare for budget reasons, but nothing on this order has ever been done to Medicare. What happened? Talk more about that breaking news piece that CBO has projected in here. Is that because of interactions that Medicare has with the Medicaid program?
Yeah, and forgive me, given your great experience on the Senate Finance Committee, you'll understand this, but it does get a bit wonky for normal folks. Basically, it is because of those interactions, and specifically because of a provision called PAYGO. That will force a certain amount of Medicare sequestration, again, to the tune, and these aren't my figures, these are the Congressional Budget Office official figures, $500 billion. So
House Republican leaders' 1 a.m. East Coast time vote to advance President Trump's tax cut and spending cut bill through key rules committee. As Republicans wonder if Trump's Capitol Hill visit this morning did anything to move the needle. CNN's Manu Raju is on Capitol Hill. Manu, how many people in the Republican caucus oppose this bill? And will this bill advance tonight, do you think, through the key committee?
We do expect it to clear that first procedural hurdle, but Jake, the next 24 hours are really unclear how it will play out because there is still sizable opposition, more than Speaker Johnson can afford. He can only afford to lose 3 Republican votes on any straight party line vote. And here is the problem, because there are 2 different warring wings within his conference. There's one who want deeper spending cuts, but then if you push for deeper spending cuts from those conservatives want, then you get pushback from the more moderate wing of the Republican conference. And those more moderate members, not only are they concerned about the those spending cuts, but they also are pushing for a greater tax deduction for the amount that taxpayers pay on their state and local taxes. It's proposed right now under this bill at $30,000 for a married couple making less than $400,000 or less. They want to increase that cap. But if they increase that cap, then there's going to be pushback from those conservative members who don't want to provide that level of deduction, and they contend that it is a subsidy for blue states. But that negotiation has been going on for the last day frantically behind the scenes. There is some news, though, Jake. I caught up with Mike Lawler, who's part of that effort to help on the state and local tax issue. He told me there's progress being made. And then on the conservative side, I caught up with Chip Roy just moments ago, who's pushing for deeper spending cuts. He said there's progress being made as well. However, Roy says if that SALT cap increase, there will be deeper spending cuts. And other Republican members, including Eric Burlison of Missouri, told me that the deficit concerns are real. And if this grows the deficit, this bill, he'll vote no. If this bill comes to the floor, you're a no.
Right now, I'm a no. I want to get to a yes. I absolutely want to get to a yes. But I ran on balancing the budget. I don't know that I could sleep at night if I don't stick to that.
It's already very expensive. We've tripled it with no negotiations. Everybody just assumed the $30,000. Now they're asking for more.
Are you still a no?
Nothing's changed.
Don't work for the Freedom Caucus. They just need to get over themselves.
And Jake, there is no official estimate from the Congressional Budget Office, the nonpartisan office that analyzes how much this would impact the budget deficit. And that's going to be a big question. When those numbers come out, how will that impact the vote? But the speaker is racing. He wants this done potentially as soon as tomorrow night out of the United States House, or potentially even Thursday. The question, though, Jake, is can he get there? Can they cut the deal? Can they get all these members in line? Really uncertain at this moment, Jake.
All right, Manu Raju on Capitol Hill, thanks so much. CNN's Kristen Holmes has been following this from the White House today. Kristen, Trump is clearly singling out one Republican. Tell us about that.
Yeah, he is. He's absolutely singling out Kentucky Representative Massey. This is not the first time that he has done this, and it probably won't be the last. Massey is a fiscal hawk. He is aligned with the Freedom Caucus, and he has continued to say that he will not vote on this bill. Here's what Trump said when he landed on Capitol Hill today.
I don't think Thomas Massey understands government. I think he's a grandstander, frankly. He'll probably vote. We don't even talk to him much. I think he should be voted out of office.
This is also not the only time Trump has said that he should be voted out of office, but a couple of things to point out here. There is a reason why Trump is singling out members of Congress. He also, within the meeting, as we know, pointed out to Congressman Mike Lawler, saying he knew his district better than Lawler knew his district when we were talking about these SALT caps. The reason is that this is Donald Trump's legacy. There is nothing that Donald Trump cares more about getting done at this point than passing this bill, and he's willing to get up at 8:30 in the morning and go to Capitol Hill to try and convince these members to do so. They believe, again, this is his legacy. The economy is his legacy. Now, Massey, for his part, brushed the whole thing off. He was talking to our Lauren Fox, saying that actually Donald Trump wasn't that mean to him. He said he had nicer hair than Rand Paul. But Massey, even after that conversation, after Donald Trump was there on the Hill, still says he's a no.
I think what we saw is today showed just how important this is for Trump, how high the stakes are, because Trump could have picked up the phone. Right? You've been lobbied, Congressman, right? You pick up the phone. The fact that he went up to the Hill and twisted arms in person, I don't care how much love he says there was. He started off by saying, if you don't vote the way I want, you should be voted out of office. There's one other thing that I think is notable about today, and that is it is one of the few times we have seen Republicans, a number of them, stand up to Trump.
Less than 2 weeks ago, and everything that's happened since then. Because as you probably already know by now, she was just charged with felony assault by Donald Trump's Justice Department. After she was caught in a scrum, you can see there, it was a crazy, insane scrum outside a Newark ICE facility, one that she had absolutely every right to visit as a member of Congress conducting oversight. But before we get there, and before we talk to Congresswoman McIver, and we're going to talk to her for plenty of time, I promise, lots of questions, really excited to hear from her. There are some things that happened on Capitol Hill today that I need to show you. One of them is a moment from a hearing involving Secretary of State Marco Rubio, that guy, who became what seems to be the latest Trump official to deploy the strategy of what I can only call complete ignorance when asked about Trump's controversies.
It's not your understanding that the plane ultimately will belong to the president or to the president's library after?
Well, I'm not involved at that level of it. I've never heard that before.
The president has offered access to him, to the 200 top purchasers of his meme coin. Do you have a list of those foreign individuals who will be meeting with the president?
I don't. I don't know anything about it. I didn't even know there was a dinner on Thursday night.
Isn't that a relevant question for the Secretary of State?
Yeah, I'm not the social
Which foreign
secretary,
interests are going to be speaking to the president? I mean, it's kind of naive to believe that they aren't going to be in that room talking about national security matters.
Well, I don't think that that's the case at all, because I would be aware if it was the case. So you're asking me about a dinner I don't know anything about. I can't answer you because I don't know anything about this dinner. It's the first I heard of it.
He knows nothing about it. It's the first he've heard of it, somehow. Senator Chris Murphy, who you just saw there, obviously questioning Secretary Rubio, will join me here later this hour. I can't wait to talk to him about what went down there. My bet is he's pretty skeptical that the Secretary of State had heard nothing about any of that. We're all skeptical of that. But Secretary Rubio was also not the only Trump official trying to plead ignorance. I guess that's the strategy now about Trump's most outlandish and potentially illegal plans. Because today, former Congressman Billy Long, Trump's nominee to run the IRS, was also in the hot seat. And surprise, surprise, he doesn't know anything about Trump's plans either.
Is it illegal for the president to instruct the IRS to remove nonprofit status from a taxpayer?
I'm not going to have the answer that you need, and I apologize, but like I said...
So Trump's bill is perishing before our eyes. And again, Congress people have basically said they're voting it no confidence. It might not even get up for an official vote in the House and or Senate because there's not necessarily a sense that it can pass, at least as constructed. And it's because Donald doesn't seem to realize one critical thing about politics. Compromise is often needed to pass legislation, that's true. Right? Like if you have a bill and you don't have quite enough votes, you might have to make the bill more left-wing in certain ways or more right-wing in certain ways to win over different people on the issue. I'm sure that the person writing the bill has their head in their head in their hands like this, trying to figure that all out, but it happens sometimes. Biden had to make compromises to get his some of his stimulus bills passed, to get it through Manchin and whatnot, and get it through Sinema. But what Donald is doing is making nobody happy. No one's happy. And so he's pissed off moderates in blue districts and swing districts and districts that Biden won but are held by Republicans, or districts that were won by less than 5% or less than 3%. He's pissing those people off because the cuts in the bill are way too extreme. They're cutting hundreds of billions of dollars from essential social services that the working class, whether they voted Republican, Democrat, whatever, they depend on. Democrats obviously oppose it for that and many other reasons, but it's not extreme enough in the right ways to win over the hardcore MAGA base. And so Trump has lost all three camps. He's lost swing Republicans worried about their seats. He's lost Democrats, and he's also lost MAGA Republicans worried about the rabid MAGA base snarling at them. So he's failing because literally no one likes what he's selling.